There we go. Hello everyone and welcome to another Fundamentals of Wirewrap. I am your host, and today I will be bringing you to the breathtaking world of twisting wire. But in all seriousness, this here, it's pretty much sums up the cage wrapping style fundamental of wire wrapping. Same wrap, for the most part, they're both the same wrap. Now, they do have their differences. And also introducing a new product. Basically, if you want any of these, or want to make these along with this video, which I'm sorry for how back and forth between making the two it is, and also if I missed anything while editing, but we do have the new it'll be monthly releases of kits soon, or for now, but soon it will become subscriptions where monthly you just automatically get the kit. I will work on getting that set up. We'll temporarily load these up. It's letsdoreach.etsy.com, and check not the comments, but the description, and hopefully we'll have it updated on how to set up to the subscription. So please sit back, hit that thumbs up button. And again, you like this or anything else you might see during the tutorial, let me know. celestialreach.etsy.com, comments, celestial underscore, or at celestial underscore reach for TikTok and Insta. I do believe, I don't run those, but channel mods do. Here we go. Hello everyone, welcome to another Fundamentals of Wire. Today I am going over the tutorial for kind of a new product. Be going up on Etsy tonight or tomorrow. And that's these crafting kits. I haven't picked out a name for them yet. Make stuff with me, guys. And I'll be doing them in different levels. I've been trying to figure out how to make this work, and finally somebody gave me an idea of do them at different levels. So I've got a 20 and basically a $20 and a $50 one here. Let me turn my music down slightly. I didn't realize it was gonna get that epic, and yeah, sorry. So this one's a $20 one. It comes with wire gemstones and you know what you need to make it. This one here is a $50 one. It comes with the wire, and this sometimes will be copper, sometimes it'll be silver plated for this one, depending. I'm always gonna give you guys your value. A better type of cabochon. The $20 one won't always be gemstone of some sort. These ones pretty much always will be. Also, the $20 one comes with cubic zirconia and some knockoff wannabe Swarovskis, versus this comes with these blue topaz facets and which I'll go over here later. These beads are labradorite, and that's just this one. Like, every one of these is going to be different. Also, there's enough chain in here to make yourself a necklace. Plus some just random goodies. For instance, this one I threw in some pearls and a couple extra labradorite just in case you want to decorate the chain up a bit, or I don't know. Yeah. And let's see if I can do this. I'm working in a different thing with that. So, be back in a second. Alright, so where did I put my cutters? Sorry guys, this is exactly how I work. As you probably know. I am going to cut off the wire off of the piece here. Now, I'm working with sterling, however, it's not that much different from, I mean, like, as far as wire wrapping is concerned, there ain't a huge difference. Test that over. Yeah, that'll work. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut an 8-incher and an 8-inch piece and like 4 5-inch pieces. Now, I guess I should go over the tools you'll need. You'll need wire, rock, pliers, flush cutters. I would at least have these 3 types of, they don't have to be bent chain nose, I just prefer bent chain nose. And if you can swing it, I would recommend a pair of nylon tips. Just because nylon tips help in straightening things. And when working with square, you're gonna want to be able to straighten things. For this project, I'm using 20 gauge square. Now, you could use 18 gauge, but if you do, perhaps think about, you might not need 5, you may only need 4. As far as that goes. And then cut 5 inches or so. Ooh, don't lose that. Chunk of gold. Yay. Makes me giddy. Sorry. Well, okay. Then take a piece of half round. I'm using 20 gauge. Again, you can use 18 gauge for this. Now, if you're using the craft wire, it comes in 18 and 21. I wouldn't recommend using the 21. It's just, it's not gonna cut the cake on this, normally. At some point, we'll also need 28 gauge wire, roughly, or 26 will work too. It's all up to you. At this point, what I'm going to do is straighten out my wires. Hopefully, Allie from the future will not be so tired and actually edit that whole part out. Actually, I can't because I'm demonstrating straightening the wire. But yeah, so you just straighten your wire out. Now, I'm making sure to do 2 of these because the common shapes that I have on hand that I'll be using are the pear or teardrop and the oval. Also, I have rounds. Honestly, they're interchangeable. The only thing that changes is, are you doing this with a rounder bottom, or are you doing this with a pointed bottom? We'll work it out here in a moment. Now, for the sterling silver, of course, you can tell I am using far less sterling silver than copper, and I need to just change that because copper's getting expensive too. I mean, silver's getting expensive, copper's getting expensive, we won't even talk about gold. Although, I pretty much have to. The piece I'm working on now. If you're watching this in the premiere, hello. Thank you for showing up. If you're watching it near the premiere, for the next 2 weeks-ish, well, or until otherwise specified, we are running a 25% off on the store. So, okay, I gotta fix my camera, BRB. Alright, so you take your half round and you wrap it around your center, and then you kind of squeeze down with your flat pliers, or your nylons will work, especially if they're still in good condition, and you just do this a few times. And each one, if you have a decision on where the back of your piece is going to be, keep it in mind. So I try to keep my wires as organized as possible. And I want to stay in the middle. Okay. So, for the tip of like the pear, what I'm going to do is, before I do anything else, I am going to there we go, grip it at like the half point or a little before. I'm gonna bend it at an angle, and then I'm going to just set this in to see how it looks. I think that looks pretty good, personally. I'm also going to pay attention to, now sometimes these will have a better flash, like when you always want to hold them as if they're gonna be on somebody's chest. If it's labradorite or opals, like, always position your stone how you want it, how it's gonna look best when being worn. And if you're selling, remind people of that. So, now that I've gotten that far, I'm going to bend my back pieces. Wrap this one around slightly. I'll wrap both of them around, actually. see if I can get this angled better. That's a little better. No, it ain't better at all. Roughly. It is warm inside this house. So I know that don't matter for the tutorial at all. Okay. Now, if you're doing the round bottoms, if you have something that is actually round, it will help a lot. I'm gonna try to start this with my hammer. What I'm gonna do is this, where I just wrap it around. I know I should have turned that off. I apologize. I will try to cut those out, but I don't have a bunch of faith in future me. And again, I'm gonna check. The annoying thing about labradorite sometimes, you get it and you're just like in real light, this makes no, there is no, you're all like, okay, so I gotta angle it at this 37-degree angle. What the? It was how they could get the biggest stone, cutting it. So it is what it is. All right. Next step. So this step is gonna take another piece of half round. I'm estimating about 6 to 7 inches. Of course, I did the intelligent thing, and I cut out sterling silver to test this. Now, if you happen to get yourself the premium kit and one of the the medium or the budget kit, whatever, start with copper. Don't I spent an hour and a half today making these, and it will take me several hours to roll those out. So just, even if you can recycle it, it's not always worth it. Don't get me wrong, it's fun in a way. If all you're doing is doing this for the fun, it don't matter. But when you are trying to make a wee bit of profit, just enough to eat and... yeah. Sorry about that beep again. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll wrap it twice around one side, squishing it flat. Then I can come back and do two things. However, what works the best... oh, also, food for thought, you can set these like this if you choose. It works just fine. It actually looks pretty cool. You can also set round ones like that, and then put a stone there. We'll do a tutorial specifically on that design eventually. But just bringing it straight over on the back, kind of loosely bringing it through. Now, here's the challenging part. You want it flush, and you want these tight. You also want it, like, level, I guess would be the word for it. So, what I do is once I figure out where I want it, I kind of try to crimp somewhat. And check to see if it's level. Okay, and then, yeah, after making sure it's level, trying to stay in screen, you wrap it around 3 or 4 times. And that's really due to it, or just up to your aesthetic. Honestly, if you want, you could wrap this all the way up, which I'm half thinking of doing just because it'd be so against the normal grain for how people often do these. I think I'm going to on this one. I don't know that I'll do it on the other one, but I am also trying to show that there can be some variation in these. This is just another form of that cage wrap. And I'm hoping to make it a somewhat elegant version of that cage wrap. Sometimes one thing you can do is squeeze like that and bring them all together. Anyway, as I was saying, but beyond, like, there's elegance, I have a personal, like, steampunk touch to a lot of what I do. Or cyberpunk touch, or, like, yeah, call it whatever you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I did 7 on this one. I'm gonna repeat that on the other side. Alright, so you have both sides. Why does this thing keep feeling like... We have both sides, which are slowly... It's like I can't get a middle ground with it, I swear. Fully wrapped up. And one thing real quick I want to do is just make a little space by taking and grabbing the very top wire. Right there. And I just want to pull up on it, creating just a wee little gap. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Then I'm going to set my stone in here, and while these are still straight, I'm going to and I'll move the stone as needed since it's not completely set yet, but I'm going to work in my chain nose and what I'm trying to do is get it in just enough sometimes that can be hard. Sometimes it's easier just to take the flat nose ones and use those to bend up. It looks better if you can get the chain nose way with it, but not always totally doable, sadly. I'm wanting about an even amount. I'm noticing I just can't win for losing as far as it almost seems. That's better. Okay. And those are, for all intensive purposes, prongs. I'll kind of bend them in slightly, so what they will do is cover over as little of the stone as possible while holding it in place. And straightening those on the sides, just kind of getting her to fit in there. What I'll do is I'll estimate some bends, bend this out back. And I will start moving so these two will meet in the middle. But then fold out. Preferably something to that effect, but I want them to meet as close to the middle as I can feasibly get them. That seems like that's about where I'm gonna get it. They're definitely gonna provide, like, there's tension on this thing, that's for sure. Which is good. That tells me, like, I'm gonna take just to make sure and put that tension and just poke on the stone gently, make sure it's not gonna move. I'll do the same thing with the rest. So there's more than one option for the next part, and I'm gonna cover multiple, and that is the bail. This thing here. Option number one, utilizing half round to do what it is, or to make a simple and sturdy bail. So there should be plenty of half round in all of these to do this part. Now that said, the other type of bail that I'm going to show is just as sturdy. Yeah, it's just as sturdy. Its longevity might not quite be as long, but from a complete, like, view of all around, it will look slightly better to some people aesthetically. So it, like, that one is almost like a samurai sword looking setup versus this. So you kind of get your wire, your half round, secured around one of these, and you bring it around all of them. Before you get any further, you take your flat and put a couple bends in the wire back here. I try to make it look like there's some sort of master plan going on. But, like, you know, anyone who knows better knows better. Alright. I wrap around the whole thing twice. Get back to the bail part. Now, my, this little piece here, yank on it, tuck it back under so it comes out underneath that wire. Next, so it's coming out next to the stone, like so. Take your flush cutters and cut it flush up against the wire and next to the stone. That makes it so there's no pokey thing to catch anybody, which, so far, if I haven't messed up on this tutorial, there won't be no pokey bits. I should have explained that about these here. Kind of make sure that it's the same with those. Also, if there's any distance between this and the stone, press down on it. Then, bring your two wires together, hold your flat round, and just so the, well, I mean, either side can go up, but the side you want going up, and sometimes it helps just to real fast take your nylons and run them down the length to get that straightened. It's like the only use I have for nylons. Other people swear by them. Personally, they're more of a hassle in my opinion than polishing, even though polishing takes longer. Looks nicer in the end. And then you just twist. Re-straighten these out and keep twisting. Try to apply even pressure on each and every rotation. Which is why I tend to do this whole thing, because it applies pressure and it's pretty even. This rarely gets caught in your hands. So you get it to a good distance that is gonna work for your bail. Softly test. Now, if I were to completely do a rotation right now, I don't feel like this would be a good enough bail for one reason. Say you have a pearl necklace and you want to put this piece on it. Well, I want you to put this on that pearl necklace. Or you have a necklace made out of jade or freaking agate, carnelian chips, whatever. I want you to be able to fit this over that. And so I try to make sure the bales are nice and big. Some people don't like that. They just want a simple snake chain. You can do this however you want to. The bale, it can be important, but it doesn't have to be. The bale can be as much of your design as, or part of the design as you want it to be. Now, go through and, again, evenly flatten the wire, or don't. Like, this is unnecessary. It's just adding aesthetic that I personally like, because the whole steampunk thing. And even it out a bit. Alright, and then we got this one. So if you got the kit, you may have noticed that it comes with some 28 gauge wire, and at this point you might be saying to yourself, am I really going to need it? And the answer is maybe. You might not. To wire in your stone. So yeah, wrap it around, you know, 4 or 5 times. Enough to make you feel secure, that it's feeling secure. And again, try to cut it so it'll be flush with the stone. That provides people from getting hurt. Or provides people with safety. Alright. Doing this part, if you watch how you angle your piece or your pliers, you'll notice this here will angle in a way that holds the stone better. It takes some playing around to get the feel of. You won't get it right away, but if you pay attention to it, you'll notice it. And once you notice it, and like actually are realizing the difference that can really make, the change can be really profound. For instance, well, let me fasten this together real quick. And same thing, just need to wrap it around twice. I'm gonna do it 3 times just because. Okay. Now, what I'm about to demonstrate will not always be the case, but it will be often enough. We have the little protection down here holding it in. It's slight, it doesn't go over much. I angled those. Now again, this is not an every time always going to act like this. It might not this time, but you notice I can put some pressure back here and it won't come out. Feeling so much editing. Anyway, the design doesn't take that much to change. And while something like that can happen, especially if you're being too rough, it doesn't happen a lot. It's something I can't remember happening other than with that particular rock. Maybe it was that particular shipment too, and that particular seller. So, because I've bought a lot of labradorite from them. That was just purple from them, and most of their labradorites turned out really good. I just got really effed on that. Oh yeah, so whole point of this here, let me just explain what happened, because I'm gonna go through and pretty much I was doing this, wire broke, had to back up, and as I was backing up, something happened, and that beautiful pink snapped in half. It didn't even snap. There was no snap. I just felt a piece of grain hit my hand and was like, oh no, 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 no. And then I had to take a 30-minute break and cry. Not literally, but damn near. That was a really pretty rock. And just boom. Look at that. I did relatively okay on that for as utterly heartbroken as I was over that one of my just favorite stones. That was favorite on the level I didn't know that I was going to sell this piece. Now that it's just a super, super beautiful moonstone, yeah, you guys can have it. That purple moonstone? I don't know, man. I am really partial to those things. Alright. How am I gonna do this? So, wrap this around the two of them. And then I'm going for security. Especially because I'm not done doing the pretty parts. So we're going to worry about security for now. After that, I'll worry about making this thing look nice. So I'm going to take these and wrap it up or underneath, around the front, back behind, split them apart somewhat. The bottom one, there should be a gap, which also, real quick, just since I'm here, what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna there we go. Pull it in, under, wrap it around 5 times. I'm gonna find a way to use that. You know, I have one of just the world's most amazing boulder opals, in my opinion. It's broke. And I think I might make a piece that, and I didn't break that one. Someone I lived with accidentally dropped that one, and I about cry. Actually, like, I told him, "Hey, Kuna Matata, it's okay, man," like, because he thought I was gonna like get angry. I'm like, "No, dude, just." Gonna take this big baled beauty. I'm gonna angle this up. Angle that, angle this down. It's gonna come out just perfectly. Then I'm gonna wrap this one up so these two wires do that. These wires are gonna come over here to the side, while these ones are going to wrap underneath in a really tight, like, I've got leverage, and I am leveraging it. Ooh. It's okay. Yeah. Second there, I forgot the wrap I was doing. That's alright. Yeah, that'll work. Alright. I've got this straggler. It's gonna do is it's gonna come back here, and it's gonna join forces with this one. They just don't know it yet. See, they're all here. Wait, why? Why would I have that one go all that distance to join forces? Straighten this thing back out, because that was for... Alright. However, see, they're all here. Wait, why? Why would I have that one go all that distance to join forces? Straighten this thing back out, because that was for... Alright. However, I am going to join forces about there. There we go. Alright. So I have a lot of wrapping to do here. These three that are going up are very, very simple. So it doesn't have a huge amount of arc, but it's got a little. And then there's this third one. And I definitely want it to sweep. So I will hold it like this, bring this under, fold it over, bring it under one more time. Get it up nice and close to that. This is why I say the bail is secondary, like, at least on, yeah, depends on the design. Now, I've got that. Going to wrap this I'm going to do an odd variation of wrapping on this that I call a 2-5-2. Now there's 2 wire weaves, but then there's 3 wire weaves as well. Now the thing is, most of these weaves start with your core wire. A really cool effect you can have is if the core is on the outside or on the middle. So on these 3 wire setups, what I will do is wrap around the middle 5 times, wrap around 2 of the wires, so you've got the middle wire and one of the outside wires, wrap around the middle 5 more times, and then I'll wrap around that opposite wire in the middle twice. And I'll show you here in a moment what this kind of looks like. I do believe I accidentally just grabbed 30 gauge. 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2. Editing this is gonna be so horrible. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, guys, I gotta stop the tutorial. We're done. I'm just gonna put it out like this because it's the premiere of Kenobi. Like this second. So, no, I'm kidding. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll be watching Kenobi as soon as I'm done shooting. Actually, I don't even think I'm gonna get done shooting. We'll see. I will probably finish this one, and then I have to do with the bow tie setting. I figure I'll do which isn't necessary to this piece, but alright, so we get this about where we're gonna want it. And we slip the wire that we're wrapping with. Down through the entire sidewall. God damn it. Down inside the sidewall. Pull it out. Through the back. It'll then come up. And then we just go back to wrapping our pattern. I've dropped this wire out of the pattern, so now it's just 5, 2, 5, 2. That one might have been 6 or 7, 2, but it don't matter. Technically it was 10 before that, so... Actually, and I feel that's good for that particular mission. What I'll do now is wrap the rest of this wire that I plan to use, which I'm going to make it into a curl, so it isn't going to be stupidly long. I'm just going to wrap about that. Yeah, maybe a little more. Cut this and use it for the next part, which maybe. So the next part is, you will notice there is a one piece of 20 gauge that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video in your package. You have 3 beads and 3 either like cubic zirconia or they're faceted. You have 3 beads, 3 faceted gemstones. The reason for this, well, is so, the reason you want to split these apart this way, and you can change out how you split them apart, but you want 2 of that. It's the same down here where I have this split right here, except for I'm gonna be using it differently than this. Is so I'm gonna switch out actually to a thicker gauge wire, but I'm also going to let this underneath. Originally that one. So right now, the other method that could be done is a bow tie or different channel settings. I don't currently have a tutorial for them, although I am going to make the bow tie setting like a kind of mini tutorial for it. However, if you want to see a really good tutorial on it, go check out The Art of Wire. He has a great tutorial on the bow tie settings. Actually, I learned a lot from the guy. I really did. He's an amazing artist, and I aspire to be on that level. So again, you just want it right down next to the stone, coming out, so you can cut it with the flush cutters right up against the wire and right up against the stone. I'm gonna wrap it around the front. There's somewhat of method to my madness here, I think. You wrap it around the back or the front of the bale, either way. I'm gonna wrap it around the front just because I think that's possibly going to look interesting. Got a little bit of wire sticking out still, and what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to make a circle. And then with my flat ones, just flatten the whole thing out right up in the front. Decide that I don't like that. Cut it a little long and have it wrap halfway around into the back of the structure of the bale. And then cut it back there so that it doesn't stick out and doesn't go around to the front again. Cool. Now, I have this. And I have 28 gauge wire. Haha! 28 gauge. See, I told you we would need this 28 gauge wire. Now, we may not need the 28 gauge wire. It's entirely up to you, honestly. And the reason I say that is because, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna actually manipulate these two wires so that they get a certain distance apart from each other, and then they stay that distance from each other. And okay, technically it's 4 wires, but like there's a split in the 4 wires. That's what I'm working, is that split. And so I'm going to take this 28 gauge wire, I'm gonna be honest, that one's probably not getting cut. I'll probably forget that one. We'll see. Hopefully not, but... I only have so much hope for my editing skills. Heck, if I could, I would pawn the editing off onto someone else. But... it'd give me something to do. Well, watching oh dear. I'm gonna apologize now if you've been watching this and it has just been riddled with curse word after curse word after curse word, and that might have something to do with the fact that something really interesting was happening in Obi-Wan while I was doing this, or doing the editing. If I'm even doing, or that far, we might be editing this later than hoped for, because well, the kit does come with the beads and the faceted to give you options. So, alright, so what I'm going to do is I've got this piece of 28 gauge. I'm going to wrap around these 2 wires. It's going to be weird. 1, 2. Then I'm going to wrap around the inner one, 3 and 4. Come around, wrap around the inside one time. And then, like, just one full time. I gotta let my cat go be a cat. You gonna go be a cat? Hopefully I'll edit that out. Go be a cat. Yeah. Go ahead. I'll leave the door open so you can come back. And then... where was I? So you wrap around the middle one once, one full time, come up, or down underneath. What this is it's a double figure 8. 1, 2, around both of them. And then 3 and 4 around that one. Now, you can do that exact same pattern each and every time, or you can change it up and just do a pattern going down. I have a specific one that I always do, and I'll probably stick with it. But definitely do what you think is you're gonna like the most. So then when you wrapped around it, you come up, like you go under and then up So you'd be coming over, but instead cross. That's okay. That's an easy one to fix. By the way, guys, 28 gauge is not my wire tonight. So it just broke. That's okay. Actually, when I'm in the middle of a weave, is like the time I would prefer wire to break, as long as I am not on the bail. Like, but if I'm doing cosmetic weaving like this, I can fix that so easy. I'll just pull the wire through, and hey, look at that. Except I'm going to do this thing where I go underneath. Hopefully that will remind me that I need to cut something out of that. There we go. So yeah, you've learned a lot of troubleshooting through this, that's for sure. Hopefully you're not needing to troubleshoot a stone in your kit. I won't be doing anything in any of the kits that is easily breakable, so just be careful, take your time. Anyway, as I was saying, you'll end up going underneath this, wrap around it once, it'll bring you up like so, and then you'll come over this one. What I'll do is I'll wrap around just the inner wire, bring it down and underneath, coming out like that. 1, 2, so you'll come out from underneath. 3, 4, it's raining outside. Underneath, then reverse and go right over this one. Once, I know. I think once is gonna cover it. And then reverse it again. Go underneath this here. 1. And the reason they call, like, so a figure 8 when you're wrapping 2. I'm gonna have to be careful here. 3, 4. A figure 8 when you're wrapping, it will look, let's see if I can get this right, like it's doing figure 8s, but this is a double figure 8, so it's like weaving under and through them all. And here's where I'm really going to throw in a curveball. I'm actually going to back up and hope this doesn't break on me. Please don't break. Please don't break. Thank you for not breaking. Okay, so those beads. We're going to take one of the beads and we're going to slip it on there. It's going to go all the way down. Depending on the kit and the type of bead, you may need to like make sure your wire is very straight with no kinks or curves in it. Nope. That'll work. So, we'll put the first bead, and I am using a very nice faceted labradorite on this, which is going to be the same thing that I discussed earlier. That labradorite's going to have a nice side, and I'm going to want... Alright. I'm also going to get the wires to basically straighten out around that. Alright. This is going to come underneath the whole structure. No, it's not. Okay. Improvisation. So, wrap around both twice on the side that you're on already. So instead of, reversing and going the other direction, wrap around both. And then wrap around the inner one. Once, twice, 3. Basically, wrap it until 4, 5. Okay, for this one, it's 5. Depending on the bead you're using, it could change. And actually, it's not even happy. 6, 7, 8. There we go. Now I'm going to wrap around once. And I'm going to have to go all the way back. So I'm going to have to cut myself some major slack in the wire, so I can end up all the way back here around. And you want to just be gentle and pull back. It's going to fight you. It's not gonna like going back that far. That angle is gonna be really weird to it. And then wrap around both. Once, twice. Pushing it back. 1. Inside wire. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. And basically what you're doing now is you're just going to catch up to where it was. Also, since it is a faceted labradorite, I'm going to twist it. I want the golden side, or the side that has some flash to it, out front and center. What? No. Boom. Yeah. There we go. Finally, something's going right. Alright. And now, I'm going to wrap this till it catches up. And when it does, I am going to wrap them together super tight so it catches the facets and holds them together. One, two, three. Alrighty. Wait, what happened? No. So it's going to come up and under. No, wrong. Under and switch. Yeah. And then come to the other side. Give myself a 2. And then 2 on the in, or 2 around both, 2 on the inside, reverse, wrap it once, twice, and basically what you're doing is the middle gets, for one side, when you switch over, it gets 1 wrap around, and then as you're coming back, it gets 2, and that builds a coil of 4, and makes it look correct. I'm gonna get another labradorite bead. I'm gonna find its shiniest direction. Better have a shiny direction. There's a shiny direction. Well, okay, first I'm gonna get it on the wire. Get it to where I want it. Twist it a little bit till it's encourage it here in a minute, but I'm gonna make sure before I put the first, and I'm just back to a, like, I think I'm doing like 6 and then 2 all together before I, 6 around this wire, or this inner wire of one side, and then around both, and I just try to do the pattern somewhat evenly. So, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once. And the same thing is gonna happen here, where I'm basically gonna like push the wire back. Yeah, it can. Push the wire back all the way, catch it. I apologize to how shoddy this footage probably seems. It's really impossible to do this and keep my eye on the camera. the screen of which I can't even see right now. I have it loading to my computer, which, so it has a small window that I can see, but it's pretty pathetic, actually. 3, 4. Okay, so for this, it looks like I'm going to manage to get, there we go. Hey. That's cool. And at the right angle, they both, when you get them to flash, it's not gonna do it for me. They both flash at the same time. Along with the blue labradorite, it's rather nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and then I'm gonna go right back into the figure 8 weave. I'm not going to set another labradorite into this. I can tell that it would just go over the edge and then it would cause some real wearability issues. So what I'm going to do is just continue this double figure 8. With it drawing itself in. Yep. Drawing itself in. Because while I'm gonna give it a kind of a steampunk look to it, I'm not sure how well it's going to appreciate, or I don't want to cover up any more of that labradorite, so I'm just gonna bring these together by angling them towards each other and pulling tighter as I wrap. Ironically, this is kind of gonna be the easier method, quote unquote, of getting this in there. Come on, stop screwing with me, please. Again, you just pull kind of tight, pull back, loosen for a second, while you slowly pull back towards you, and this will allow it to bring it up as close as possible to the last knot without going too far. And then, yeah, switch down to a 3 around each with the 1, and then each direction I'm only gonna wrap once around, and I'm dropping the outer wires completely. Because because this is going to bend. Simple radio difference. So at this point, you have these over here dropping to the back, and you have options with what you can do with it. Option one is, and you want to keep this pattern like all the way across the side. 1, 2, 1, 2. However, you know what? I'm gonna halt there for a moment. Let's see. Well, no, because that. A little bit more off of. I'm gonna wrap this one in. Pull that up. Cut it flush, basically. And just push it down. And up on this back side here, I mean, I might as well just it. Oh, come on. Sorry, I've been off camera so much. That is one reason I tried to shoot 2 this time, not just doing the different methods, but because I hoped there would be enough in these 2 very similar pendants to end up with you, like, the tutorial working. Oh, there it is. You can see how both of those have the shine to it. So, as we continue this figure 8 weave, 3, I mean, we don't have to continue it all the way. What we can do with it, we can do a couple things. We can cut and then curl or swirl, filigree, whatever, right now. I could change my wrap pattern, which is another good option, to getting these all, and this is actually, now that I mentioned that, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my pattern, flatten these 2 outer wires, and I'm going to wrap the round wire around all 3 of them very tightly. think I know exactly how far I want to wrap it at this point, so... I noticed I crossed over on accident, so I'm gonna back up just because it's not that much. And I want this. Now, a lot of people will say your back sides don't have, like, no one sees the back, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And sure, that may be true, but especially if you're making it for yourself, like, it's your call. But I know myself, like, I see it, and I want it to be absolutely, like, unbelievable what people are seeing. So I have this tendency of, sure, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm gonna make it as close to perfect as I can. I'm gonna get this one to slip under that. Perfect. That. And then both these wires are going to get wrapped like that. And what I'm going to do is probably a partially bit crazy. I'm gonna lift all of them slightly off the labradorite. Lift them off enough so I can wrap all of them to the labradorite. Maybe not quite that quick. Alright. Switched wrapping around the center, which is the 20 gauge round. Or it should be at least. 3, 4, 5. Like, I get there's probably no guarantees that it's still the middle unless you've done everything like perfectly how I did it, and that's not gonna be easy. Wrap around it, I don't know, it looks like 7 or 8 times. Wrap through all of them, like underneath all, back up, do it again, do it like 3 or 4 times just for good measure. Bend that out, wrap this one once, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to wrap this. This is why I don't like doing these complex wraps in copper so much. I really, I think I have an hour in, like I've got 30 minutes on this right here since the last cut that I forced because I need to edit something. Hopefully I edited it. And that scares me a little bit, that there's like that much time into this pendant, because it's not exactly a cheap pendant either. Those beads, those faceted labradorites are not exactly cheap. I mean, it's hard to, yeah, it's just scary. So I'm gonna do a crisscross, which for this piece is working out. Pull up on this side just slightly, and I'm gonna tie under like several times. So I'm not even gonna count because it doesn't matter. I basically I'm wanting to tie out. Like, on further reflection, I'm wanting to tie out, but there's a lot going on back here, and it's not gonna hurt to have the extra bit of coils just to kind of keep everything looking like it was at least cared about. It also makes me feel like I should probably just polish this piece when I'm done, and I'm polishing the silver piece. I mean, at that point. But then that's flat out like 2 more hours. Okay, that's... yeah. Last but not least, getting this underneath. Now, the only reason I really want it underneath over there is for reasons of cutting it out, but even then, I don't know. Perhaps, just perhaps, it just flat out won't be necessary. Let's see. What I'm gonna do here is this. Okay, I'm gonna do an advanced cutting method. Well, here in a moment. So I'm gonna start wrapping this underneath here several times until I get to the point where these two are matching. And once I'm there, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do this method where I grab down here real low, and I just torque it where I know that torque point is going to be right up against the bottom of the wire. And that worked out perfectly. So now cut it flush. We're done with that. So, the last part of this is cutting things to make little circular basic rosettes, some people call them. Which is one thing you could definitely call them. And many of these I'm gonna want like as just small as I possibly can get. The only reason I do these, and the reason most wire wrappers do these to close things out, is because they don't have the sharp pointy pieces that are catching on people's clothes. So I have that there. I'm going to grip it with the tip of my round nose, and I'm going to bend it in that circle, and I'm just going to get it flush up against its original wire. And I'm going to do the same with this one. And square is really nice for doing that with, because it matches itself up really well. Okay, two more. Alright, so there we have, which I have to turn it towards that light for it to really give you its glow very well. Wait, why? I have light. Right there. Oh wow, and now that I'm happy with that. So now for this one. Thankfully, in a way, the tragedy that happened earlier happened. At the same time, I'm really wishing that it hadn't. Because this is really small. First, bend these so that they're correct. Okay, screw it. I'm doing it. I don't care. It's probably unnecessary. I'm not gonna use that piece. So 24 gauge round, which I got around here somewhere. That's 24 gauge square. Slightly bulkier. I'm trying to cut down on the bulk of this particular setting. That's 26 gauge. And it's actually really tempting, not gonna lie. That's also 26 gauge. How do I have two 26 rounds, or 3 26 rounds? What are you, 28 round? No, I got another 28 round too somewhere. Deal with that here in a moment. That's half 24, 32, round 30, round 24, square 24, square 24. You are not telling me I do not have round 24. There it is. I was gonna say, like, round 24 is something that I had so much of a couple months ago. Please excuse me. I need to apologize. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is what's known as a bow tie setting. And this is the far more complicated than many of the people who are, especially if you're just starting out with fundamentals, this is probably going to be a wee bit complicated. But I've included a little bit of 24 gauge and a bit of 30 gauge for this. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your 24 gauge and you're gonna fold it like so, so it's in half. Then now, I'm going to try to get this particular part of this video to not be 40 minutes. Like, this is probably like a 3-hour freaking tutorial. But that's really difficult because now that I think about it, maybe it's not super difficult. Okay, sorry about that. Good news. There are ways to do this. So, you take your 30 gauge, wrap it around, and then you want to make sure it's like flat the whole time. This is the part where it starts getting a little challenging. You want to spread these out like a T, basically. And you want to give them a little bit of a rounded effect. But you want to be careful at the same time about how much of an effect you're wanting with that as well. Okay. So you end up with this type of a look. And what you're gonna do is bend a little, you're basically bending a little setting for the stone to go into. Now, this takes a lot of finagling to get it right, which is why, again, we're gonna be like going into a time management mode here very shortly, because which means editing is gonna take longer. Yeah. Oh, you. Okay, so I just had my wire break. What I'm going to do is slide this down where I had wrapped it around before. Take this and just rewrap it together 5 or 6 times. Because make no mistake, I absolutely need those wrapped together for this to work. At the same time, 3 minutes already. Okay, and you can see the opal just sits in that. So again, I'll show you kind of what this looks like up close. Just makes this little cup here for this opal to sit in, or any faceted stone. Then what I do, and there are different ways to do this. This is the most effective that I have personally found. Some really good artists out there can just pop these out without the stones ever like going in. Like I've seen one guy, he literally will go down one side of the wire, make the settings, and then go down the other wire and make the other side, and it's perfect. Anyway, so now that I've got that, I will bend these up over on this other side of the stone, which is gotta be targeted in the right place. And then I will bend it flat over the top. Let me do it to the other side real quick. And you can see now it's just holding it in there. But, and I wouldn't be surprised if you could like use that as a setting in itself. If you wanted to. And then what I do is I very carefully shape this to the stone on each side with the stone sitting in there. And then I turn this over. Of course it's gonna, so that it does that, and finish shaping it to that little like curve. Basically, it makes you a claw setting. From all the way around. And then you come up and wrap this around 3 to 4 times depending on what you're doing. Also, so at first this is hard to do with anything smaller than a 4mm stone. But with a lot of practice, the smallest thing I've wrapped I think was 1.75. I did a line of 3 1.75mm diamonds once. Totally worth it, so just something to keep in mind. So we have that. So hard to get opals to show up well on camera. It's so sad. Alright, so we have the setting done. Kinda. However, to really finish this setting, what you need to do is go into the back of this piece and run your piece of 30 gauge through one of the rails on the bottom. Wrap it around a couple of times. I'm probably gonna need a longer piece of 30 gauge, honestly, but that's okay. Well, actually, this is possibly the situation I don't really want to have to do that. And normally I'll do it so I've got several different wires doing this, and find several different little ends down there on the bottom of it coming off that I then use to tie onto the frame of a piece. An example of this actually is right there. And you can see underneath how I've tied all those down, and then I've tied them to the frame even. Which, if you've watched this far into this, you really deserve this look. This tells you a lot about, like, wire, and which is why I wanted to teach this setting early, but you've really got to start at the basics and work your way up, unfortunately. So, and as you might have gathered from that, you've got to do this fairly evenly all the way across. So then you switch over to the other side, find a spot that you can get the wire to slip underneath the rail, is what I'm gonna call it. But between the stone and its setting, you want to wrap this through there, underneath and around. And what this serves three purposes. The first purpose is it actually puts pressure on the stone, pushing it up and into the setting, the claw setting up top, and that makes it more secure. The second purpose is it tightens these together, and that keeps the stone from coming out. And your third purpose is it helps you tie the entire setting down to whatever you're working on. However, this is going right over a stone, and so we're not going to have as many places to tie it down as I normally would like try to set up, but that's okay. Yeah, it'll be alright. So I'm gonna do this and I'll be back. Alright, so now that I've finished the setting, tying the back up, which I've spent, well, I made it through. I've spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours on this part, it feels like. It's probably been more like an hour, but still. I'm halfway through the first episode of Obi-Wan already. Figured, like, when you're just easily doing that tying work at the end, you get to a point where, like, I can study, I can watch something. The attention aspect doesn't have to be as strict as it used to, don't get me wrong. Still gotta pay attention. Okay, so you get it set in there, up as tight as you can. Don't tell me this. Actually, I think I'm okay with that. Not that I have a whole ton of choice in the matter, it's pretty much a situation where I better be okay with it, because it's what's gonna happen. And, yeah. Well, when I think about it, yeah. Okay, so I can take this piece here and I can tie it. Sorry. Put it in, slip the little wires that I was using from the behind through the top part. I'm going to wrap this into the same place that same little gap hole that's back there that I had wrapped something in through before. That's okay. You can, when you start filling things like that and they all start coming together and merging, and oftentimes they'll cause a really cool filigree effect if done right. If done wrong, well, they still usually at least look alright. Alrighty. So what I'm gonna do with this piece in the back here is, that's longer, that's shorter. Of course it's a front piece. So they always are. That's alright. I'll take that back piece there, and what I'll do is I'll fold it up and curl it into this, but it gives a place for this side to tie to. Let's see if I can't. The opals look really good in person. Well, like I was saying earlier, opals and cameras. Historically not the bestest of friends. And I'm going to find places to tie this to, and sometimes I'll be making the places. Each piece will turn out slightly different sometimes. As I've heard many times, said many times, if you can exactly reproduce a piece that I make, good job. It's really difficult to exactly, even with calibrated stones. Like, I work with them all the time. You take 3 5mm stones, exact same dimensions, 5mm round, 3 point whatever millimeters deep, and it seems like you can never get the exact same pendant out of them. Which makes it somewhat special. Cut a little bit of space. Wrap that up. Round. Maybe make that in I'm gonna take this wire here that we used. It came from the setting of the opals, and I'm just gonna lift that a hair. Let's see here. How am I gonna do this? 1, 2. See if I can't get. It's gonna be really hard. I'm gonna try to wrap this up in and back down through the opal setting, just because it will cause a little extra security. It's not absolutely necessary to do, but it's just I'm so used to operating like this at this point. Might as well. Alright, so now that I have the opals finally in, started this tutorial at 8 and it's 2:30 in the morning. It's okay. I was planning to be up till this time anyway. I just didn't think that this is when I would just be starting things. For the show. That's alright. I'm totally cool with that. This is what it's all about. And I'm going to do the same thing I did on the last one. Wrap these onto the bale. I'm going to do it a little more sparsely though. I'm not gonna fill as much of the bale up since I put all that time making the bale so pretty. Plus those are the only two that are gonna reach. From there, got a mess in front of me, don't I? That one here. I'm able to wrap in. There. Let's see here. Take that. Last one. And it's not the last, but I'm gonna put a little bit of a circle there. Cut off a tiny bit from that one. do my little swirl there. And now I just have little tiny tweaks left. Oh, I like this one. Oh, man, sorry. You get a really pretty one. And even if it's, like, not that super heady style, like, you can just make some of these just look stunning. I'm gonna snag a little piece of 30 gauge. Some of those up there are not quite as tight as I would like them to feel. And so I'm just gonna put a little coiling around them in certain places. Trying to do it in places that will still look aesthetically pleasing while then tying it to the back of the piece. Of course, you know, all this can still be done while I just chill and watch. Yeah, be a better picture in the end. And so here we have it. Finally. Aha, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that baby shine when it's the way it's supposed to be worn. I love it. And then we have, oh, I got lucky on that one too, so does it. And this isn't with any like extra lighting. Actually, my whole setup just fell apart on me, so I apologize. Stuff's a little weird. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, if anything you see you like, including you want to give this a shot and you don't feel like buying, you know, all of every wire bit and rock you need, I'll have them up tomorrow. Along with I'll post them right before I post this video. So, thank you. I appreciate you. And, y'all have a great day, week, weekend. We'll, oh, and, if all goes right, live stream right after this. So, see you soon.